And so that was Brit Award winner Lana Del Rey. A slow song for the American Dream Team. We usually like to keep it upbeat, but split opinion in the studio.
It's boring. Oh, you just don't understand.
No, I think it's a bit slow as well, really.
You people, too much pop. I'm teasing. So, if you don't like her, it's fine. It just changes my opinion of you. That's all I have to say.
Top selling album, Brit Award. She must be doing something right.
Well, I think it was her first award, the Brit Award. So she was quite humble about it. I was really happy when she won because I think she deserved it most. And they said at the Brit Awards that her album Born to Die had sold more copies than the rest of the nominees combined. So she kind of deserved to win it.
Something right.
Yeah, she's doing something right.
You weren't one of those people who bought the album then,
Definitely
I'm going to
not.
assume. No. Welcome back to the American Dream Team. We've just gone 5:25. Coming up around 6 o'clock or just after, we have our interview with Joe Raffer and Harrison Smith, stars, directors, producers, writers between them of the new film
Amazing.
6 Degrees of Hell. A horror movie. You can check that out on Facebook. It looks very scary. Some of the pictures they keep posting pictures. Like, I think they're in post production and doing sort of effects.
Well, they've got a trailer which is on YouTube which you can go and watch. And it's not something, because I'm not a huge fan of horror movies, so it's not something I'd sit down and watch unless it was like someone's like, "Oh, hey, watch this film with us." So I was like, "Okay," but
I think we should all go and watch the film when it comes out.
I think we should. Do you think it'll get a theatre release, or we can ask them?
Yes,
it's a good question.
That's what we need.
Okay. But now, I'm going to hand over to Jodie, who's going to talk to us about the books, and Jodie and Ben talk to us about the books they've been reviewing from Waterstones and how that came about.
Okay, so we don't have a jingle for this yet, but I guess it was like Books of the Week from Waterstones.
There we have.
There we go.
We have a jingle.
We are recording this show. I think we've just got the...
You might need to give it a little more oomph next time.
Well, it was just, I was just putting it out there. It wasn't, But, so obviously we like everything American in the American Dream Team, and something we haven't really done before is look at books, novels that are coming out at the moment. So the lovely people at Waterstones, the Exchange Arcade branch, are actually having a little display for us in store with some of these books, and they've given us some copies to review. So
just so they're rather large books.
They are rather large books because they're brand spanking new out. They're all hardbacks. So yes, it was quite heavy for me to carry home. But anyway,
I was using mine as a protection.
Batting people out of the way at the post office. Go and leave, my turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, you were there, right?
Yes, I was. I was the one behind you.
So, I mean, if I talk about the first one that I read, which was called The Art of Fielding by Chad Harbach, and it's basically, it's a book about baseball, although not too much about sport, otherwise, I probably would have fallen asleep. But it's based around 5 characters who are at a college over in the States, which actually reminded very much of Juniata, where I was studying last year. So basically, it's all kind of about following your dreams and the consequences of doing so. These 5 characters are all linked. I really enjoyed this book, actually. I mean, the 4 of them are students. One of them is the president of the college. And it's about their relationships with each other.
And baseball.
And the president's relationship with one of the students. One being his daughter, but he does have an intimate relationship with one of the other students.
It does sound very American, to be fair. Following your dreams and...
Yeah, I mean, one of the characters, Henry Scrimshander, is kind of scouted out by the captain of the baseball team from high school, and he gets brought over to Westish College. And basically he's just a little guy. But he's pretty good at being shortstop. Ben, I know nothing about baseball, but I don't know.
It's the guy that sort of
Is he the one at the back of the?
No, for a right-handed batsman, as most people are, it's the ball would sort of naturally be hit that way. So it's quite a key position for like defending and stopping people scoring.
Okay, so he ends up at Westish College, and Mike Swartz, who is the captain of the baseball team and the football team and every other sports team you could possibly have, basically trains him. He said, look, you're going to be a big guy, you'll be able to play professionally, and he pushes him and pushes him and pushes him, and then eventually Henry does get offered, the scouts coming around looking, and Mike can't handle that. So that's one of the stories in there. There is also, as I said, President Affenlight has a relationship with a male student, so it's quite interesting how that pans out.
It's all in there then.
It's all in there, yeah. And I have to say, I really like the ending actually.
Which you won't
I'm not going to give away.
I was going to say.
I did rather like that actually.
So out of 10, what would you give The Art of Fielding?
I would probably give that an 8. To
an
be
8.
honest,
it's pretty high.
Yeah,
pretty high.
But for a debut novel, he's not just any old author. Chad Harbach was educated at Harvard and the University of Virginia. So, but
a pretty intelligent soul then.
I would say so.
But
yeah.
now he's had the seal of approval from the American Dream Team. He's really
made
it now.
Millions.
He's really made it.
Yeah, so I would definitely be interested in...
every author aspires to be reviewed by the American Dream Team.
Indeed.
Definitely be interested in reading something similar, or reading his next book when it comes out.
So would you say that people that don't like baseball would like this film?
Yeah, I would say so, because I'm not a massive fan of sports. My eyes sometimes glaze over when Ben's doing the sports news and Jack's doing the politics news. But
thanks for really making me feel good about myself.
It's not a personal thing. It's just
I'm always listening avidly. You have me.
That's all I really need.
That's what you need.
So anyway, but I mean, there's some technical talk in it while they're talking about baseball and playing it, but. No, I mean, apart from that, I really enjoyed it, and I think anybody should give it a read. So,
very good.
The cover doesn't give anything away whatsoever.
Not at all.
No. It's just got the title, because obviously you can't see the cover. I'll see if I can find a cover and put it on our YouTube when we have the slideshow.
I do like the cover though. It's very sort of retro. I like that. Yeah,
blackboard with chalk writing on it.
Yeah.
So definitely a good read that.
Fantastic.
So Ben, what about yours?
Well, I read Private Games by James Patterson. Patterson. So I thought it might have been Pattinson for a second there, but no, it is Patterson, which is about it's about the London Olympics that are obviously coming up this summer. That's when it's set anyway. It's everything's all going wonderfully well, planning it and everything, and then unfortunately a guy called Sir Denton Marshall, who is one of the head sort of committee people of organising the entire games, gets his head cut off by somebody.
Oh, that would make the Olympics much more exciting if that actually happened.
It makes life slightly more difficult because there is, at the start, the book starts with the main character, the protagonist of the book, Peter Knight, he's like a private investigator, an investigator guy. He goes and finds a dead body, and there is the person who has done the killing has left the Olympic symbol in the garden in spray paint, and then crossed it out with Mr. Marshall's blood.
Wow.
Which is it's all a bit morbid.
This sounds awesome.
Yeah. And obviously it's made all the more sort of telling by the fact that Peter Knight Mr. Denton Marshall is actually Peter Knight's mother's fiance.
Oh, of course, you've got to have that sort of
you've got to have
twist
the
in
sort of, so it's actually a very personal thing for him as well. But obviously he's got the issue of basically there is a killer out there who clearly doesn't like the Olympics.
I was going to say, so what I can gather, basically every single Londoner come July could possibly be the killer.
In theory, not even a Londoner. Not even a Londoner. Just everybody.
No, trust me, every single Londoner will hate the Olympics by July.
Perhaps.
I am one, I know.
Perhaps. They so obviously with all these sort of professional world-class athletes coming, there's somebody out who clearly doesn't want the Olympics. It's sort of a bit of it's the old sort of classic race against time for him to...
So it's a bit of a murder mystery then.
It is. I was sold it under the pretenses it was quite sport-based.
It's about the Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympics. You
should have read The Art of Fielding.
I would appear I probably should, but no, it was. It's got very short chapters, so it was quite fast paced, and it got you sort of turning through and everything.
Mm-hmm. So did the Olympics start? Was this pre the Olympic Games?
This is pre the Olympic Games. They're still in the planning stage. I would imagine.
So basically, like now.
So it could follow it up really with a during Olympics.
I suppose he could do, yeah. So I suppose, effectively, the murder has sort of happened now.
It could be happening at this
or
moment.
Soon.
Right now, he's being murdered and the symbol's being spray painted.
If Sebastian Coe turns up without a head, I think we might need to question James Patterson.
Excellent.
I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope that nobody is killed during the Olympics.
So I.
Or ever.
Or
ever. Yes, ever.
Well, we are talking fiction here.
We are, yes. It was definitely a fictional
or
book.
how-to. So.
Out of 10, Ben, would you give this book?
It wasn't really my sort of thing, but I could see why people, if you are interested in sort of the murder mystery sort of thing, then I'd say for me it was maybe sort of a 6, maybe 6.5.
It's quite high.
If you like murder mystery, I think it would be quite a good murder mystery book. So maybe maybe a 7 or possibly an 8, like Jodie.
Yeah, we definitely should have swapped. I like murder mysteries.
Okay,
I'm not such a fan of baseball.
Next time you need to research them more.
Yeah, I'll give you the book.
It's good though. You've had like a critical view of them because it's not.
Yeah, and it's not always precisely. It's not always good
to read, especially if you're reviewing a book, to read what you usually would read.
Read something different.
I mean, I'm awful with books. The last books I read were The Hunger Games. That was amazing.
Harry Potter.
Terrible. Ugh, I need to start reading again. Maybe after dissertation.
Yes.
Perhaps.
I have to say I've quite enjoyed reading these 2 books. And
yes,
I have
2. What's your second book?
Well, the second book I have is Dean Koontz. Now, I'm sure he used to have an R in his name, Dean R. Koontz, but it's disappeared somewhere.
Probably couldn't fit it on the title because it's all sort of squashed.
And his latest book is called 77 Shadow Street, and it's basically about a house where every 38 years there's a real kind of big terror that happens, and it I have to say I found it a little bit hard to follow. There's a lot of characters, and it's kind of going through this kind of time travel elements to it.
Oh, so it's sort of jumping back and forth in time.
Kind of. And basically every 38 years a lot of people end up getting kind of killed in the house.
A bit like modern Amityville Horror, but like every 38 years.
I haven't seen Amityville Horror.
It's just about a house that lots of people die in, I think.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
The general gist of the Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
So we're less enthusiastic about this one than we are.
Well, I haven't read any horror books since my teens, which was a long time ago. I used to read a lot of Stephen King's, but I haven't read anything since then. So it was quite hard to kind of get into this gory element of it. But I think I wanted to enjoy it more than I did because it got quite complicated and the plot perhaps was a bit too far-fetched.
Do you think it would work as a film, perhaps?
I think it would do, actually. I could see it being a film.
Some writers do write their books with the intention of it being made into
I think
a film.
Visually, I could see it visually as I was reading the book.
Yeah.
So I think it would make a good horror film.
Score out of 10?
I'm going to say 6.
6?
I think.
Still, but they've been marked up pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Sort of. Well, I suppose it's maybe 5. Or you don't want to give something a 1.
Well, no, I guess if you read a book and it's so awful, you know, and that's so now that's why we review them.
Yes.
So let everybody know.
So that's Jodie and Ben's review of the Waterstones books, and hopefully
don't
Jodie, you
forget. If anybody in Lincoln or Lincolnshire or anywhere in the world wants to buy any of these books, but you can get to the Exchange Arcade in Lincoln, that branch of Waterstones, let me make that clear, because the offer only runs at the Exchange branch, not the High Street branch. If you want to get Dean Koontz 77 Shadow Street, The Art of Fielding by Chad Harbach or James Patterson's Private Games for half price for the next 2 weeks, if you just go into Waterstones, the Exchange Arcade, and quote Siren FM, the American Dream Team, and they'll give you it half price.
That's a really cool offer, actually.
It is,
perhaps we could
so
put the details of the books on our Facebook page.
Especially when these books are brand new, hardbacks.
Yeah, I mean, you look inside, it's, $16.99, this one's $18.99.
So you get them for £8.
Yeah.
Which is the price of a paperback.
Yeah.
Which you have to make months for anyway.
When you're buying the book.